Listen, there are 5 points to the Dallas Cowboys star. So I have 5 questions.
Whoa.
I'll do all 5 of the questions here,
Okay.
Kevin. I want you to answer them. All right? I got all of them written down right here.
All right.
We're going to start the
I also need to write them down?
Right. Well, if you need to write it down and answer it and then turn the paper in afterwards, that's perfectly fine.
Gotcha.
We'll start with this question. Will Mike McCarthy be making decisions as a coach going out on his own? You know, like going out his way. Like he's a coach, and he's sitting there going, I'm going to be done anyway. I'm looking over my shoulder. I got constantly Sean Payton and Dan Quinn right there behind me. Is he going to be making decisions as a coach that's, I'm going to go out my way?
I think he will, and I think it is for the exact scenario that you were setting up is he's like, hey, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get fired of my own accord, not somebody else's. So I do believe he's going to be making those decisions.
I don't think he cares.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my gosh.
I think he's just going to roll with it. I think he's just rolling with the punches. So I don't think he's going to overrule Kellen Moore. He pretty much said that in his press conference last year, right?
Yeah,
like
he did.
I remember as an offensive coordinator, I'm quoting Mike McCarthy in the best way that I can, and that's putting it into my own words.
Because I thought you were saying you were an offensive coordinator.
Right,
once, but you're not.
Mike McCarthy said last year, I did not like being an offensive coordinator and the head coach dictating anything. Because if he said, hey, I think this play is going to work, what did Mike McCarthy say? Then I'd put it in the first set of plays that we were going to run so it would be done and over with so I could call my own game and then appease the head coach for putting the play in that he liked early on in the game. And he's like, I'm just not going to be that type of head coach then since he's not the offensive coordinator too. So I don't think he's going to step in. I think, yes, he's in charge of controlling the clock a little bit, going for it on 4th down, but he's been doing that. I don't think he's going to overstep those bounds. I think he's going to be the exact same coach he was last year to Kellen Moore. And I don't think he does anything defensively, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's ever done anything defensively. So
In my opinion, I think he is going to coach that way. I think he's going to have the mindset of, if it's going to happen, I'm trying out for 31 other football teams. If I want to be a head coach again, now that's another question. Will he get that opportunity because of the unfair hand he was dealt with the Cowboys? Will he have to revert to being an offensive coordinator at some point? Just won 12 games. I mean, he just won 12 games. Not in his first year. It was the COVID season. It was weird. And then they won 12 games. If he's sitting there looking at it going, man, if I can replicate that again and Jerry still doesn't want me around, I think you could have the opportunity. If he's coaching that way, if he's coaching with that mindset, and his team is looking at it in the same mindset, we just talked about it, Zeke and Tony Pollard might be looking at their season going, this could be it for me. I got to go prove it to everybody out there to try out. Then, dude, you might finally get the best of it. The problem is, I think there will be a sputter out in the playoffs, maybe not in the first round, but a second round sputter out there, you're like, dadgummit, because at that point he's proven enough. I proved enough that I got you to where y'all thought we couldn't get, and here we are. Question number 2, Kevin. This is stolen from yours. Is CeeDee Lamb ready to be the guy?
I think he is ready to be the guy. I will tell you this, that's optimism. The pessimism is if he's not, this season is going to be bad.
Under 500, right?
Yeah. But the good news is I do think he's ready to be the guy. I know the drops are troublesome, but
I agree with you that I think he's going to be good. Because if he's not, and he's just what he has been, we've seen Dak. It was called 2018. Dak Prescott in a situation where he had below average wide receivers and an average running game because Zeke was inconsistent that year. Cowboys were 2-6.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't they in the first 8 games?
I think that sounds
because they traded for Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's first game, I believe they lose to the Tennessee Titans, and it pushes them to 2-6, I believe, or maybe it was 2-5. But that's how bad it is if Dak doesn't have better wide receivers. And then the Cowboys are like, all right, we tried this without Dez. Dez's career was coming to a close. Let's go trade for Amari Cooper. Then, a year or two later, they draft CeeDee Lamb in the first round, and they drafted Michael Gallup also. In the 3rd round after that year was over too. So I think the Cowboys have seen what this team looks like with Dak Prescott. I know he's better than 2018 without good wide receiver. So CeeDee Lamb better be, or I think you're looking at a 6-11 or 7-10 season if he's not a top. I'll put him at 15 because he already is, according to most people, like top 15. But he needs to be a top 10 receiver this year in the NFL.
Yep. I thought he was a luxury with what they had, but it is time for him to do it. Number 3, who will be the second leader in sacks for the Dallas Cowboys this year? Because I think we can all presume it's going to be Micah as a number one.
I'll stick with
wow.
Demarcus Lawrence. Yeah, and I almost thought when I said Demarcus Lawrence, it was kind of a shot. I do not think he will overtake Micah for first on the team whatsoever, but I will say he will still be second, even though I think 90 is wildly overvalued for his position value on Madden. Take that for what you will, especially when that's more than Micah. I'll still say Demarcus Lawrence. That's kind of how I feel about that.
No, I'm with you.
That's kind of how I feel.
Because you don't think there's any other option?
No, well, I'll tell you the other option, and it's the Jones boy.
Dorrance.
Yeah, it's Dorrance Armstrong.
Not Fowler?
Well, who do you think they like more?
I mean,
I think Dan Quinn might eventually like Fowler a little more because he was with him before.
And I think that could carry the day.
Okay.
But when they started to say, I know it was typical spin when they were like, we got 2 for 1.
Yeah.
Like Dante Fowler was a 3rd pick in the draft years ago. Like, I do kind of wonder what they're going to try to do with him.
Okay. I'm with you. I'm going to go that it'll be Micah Parsons with 10 to 12.
Okay.
And then it will be 8 for Demarcus Lawrence.
Okay, all right.
That's reasonable.
Feeling pretty good.
So
I'm feeling pretty good.
I think we can get 20 sacks out of those two guys combined. I don't know. Does that sound like a good pass rushing team?
Kind of
if your top two guys,
the way they like
total
to
20,
the way they like to rotate. I'm feeling like that. Because Sam Williams might get a couple. The way they like to rotate, it might be one of those situations where a lot of guys, chip in on this, but Mike is going to be the first guy. It's just who's the other pass rusher there. Number 3, is the offensive line actually healthy?
It is.
No, go ahead.
You just need to look at Mike's face.
It is, but this is not the time of year where I need them to be healthy. That's what I think is going to remain the problem is I believe that they're healthy, and when the season starts, they'll be healthy. What about in week 3? What about in week 5? That's my concern is I believe the offensive line will be healthy and ready to go. It's just how long does that last?
Yeah.
I think that it won't be healthy for the whole season. You're going to have an injury in training camp / a preseason game. And then you're going to be fighting against Tyron Smith missing his 4 to 10 games this year. Hopefully he only misses 4. That is a tremendous season at this point in Tyron Smith's career where it's almost over and he's still really good when he's on the field. He's going to miss 4 and he can miss up to 10 games for you. It's going to be somewhere in that, and just hope that it's just 4. So to me, I don't think it'll ever be healthy as long as right now Tyron Smith is part of your, we have to have these 5 guys and he has to be one of them to be an above average offensive line. Because he's going to miss 4. He's going to be hurt for at least another 4. And so that gives you, at that point, you're hoping for 9 great games from Tyron Smith. And that's probably being optimistic.
Yeah. And I think the other part of that too is, man, their depth. If none of those starters are healthy, if one of them's out, I don't know if your depth can hold up still. I still have question marks there. And the last question, and Kevin, we can do this every day leading up to camp. I got tons of questions about this team. We can add this to the thing every single day.
You should have no questions about this team.
I question this team. The last question here, and I think everybody wants to know the answer to this one badly. Will the role of Tony Pollard actually expand?
I don't think so. I hope so. And this is, you know what? Your last 2 questions fit under good questions that I have hopeful answers for probably aren't realistic. My hopeful answer is
strategy.
Yes, the offensive line stays healthy. My realistic answer is probably not. My hopeful answer is yes, they shift it to at least 50-50, but more realistically, I still think best case scenario, it's going to be 60-40. And I think if it's 60-40, it should be 60-40 Pollard. But I do not believe that Tony Pollard will see the kind of expanded role that we're all hoping for.
60-40 snaps or touches?
Touches.
Touches? Okay, because, you can put him out on the field and still never do anything with him.
Sure.
So, yeah, the touches, like whether it's
60-40 touches, absolutely. I do not believe that's going to happen, no.
Yeah, it's going to stay the same. The only way it changes is if Zeke gets hurt.
Interesting.
And I don't think Zeke battles through it. He shouldn't have battled through it last year.
Yeah.
He made the team worse by battling through. When you look at the last, 6 to 8 games and his yards per carry, yards total in the game, It was a bad decision by him. He made the team worse. It's very tough, right? It's like, look how he battles. I love the battle in him. But he made the team worse by being out on the field.
Yeah. I think it will expand because I think this year they're going to see what their best role is for Zeke, and this kind of loops back to question number one. Mike McCarthy's going to say, I don't have the luxury of sitting around and waiting and just letting this happen. I have to do something about this now. This is my guy. This is the hot hand. This is the one we're running with. This is the one that's going to be the guy that gives us the best option to have the most explosive offense on the field. So this question goes back to the head coaching question, and I think Mike McCarthy was going to coach with his hair on fire this year and say, we got to do it the right way.
And by the way, if you care about these things, Zeke was tied for 9th and 10th on the Madden running back chart. It went Derrick Henry first, Nick Chubb and Christian McCaffrey tied for second, which discounts some of their credibility right there. Jonathan Taylor, 4th. Dalvin Cook, 5th. Joe Mixon, 6th. Alvin Kamara, 7th. Aaron Jones, 8th. And then Zeke and Austin Eckler tied for 9th and 10th.